Disney may be working on something new for Space Mountain. They also may be working on something new for Hyperion Theater. And they're definitely doing something new with Genie Plus at Walt Disney World. And it sounds awful. 2 rumors and some news coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hi guys, David here with Fresh Baked. We got 2 rumors that I want to talk to you about, plus a fascinating and awful update coming out of Genie Plus at Walt Disney World. I may just lose my chill by the end of this video. But first, let's talk about a rumor that I heard about Space Mountain. Good old-fashioned Space Mountain is one of the greatest theme park attractions ever conceived. But from time to time, Disney likes to change it up a bit. For example, right now, it's Hyper Space Mountain. Same ride, but with Star Wars effects and music. And then in the past, there's also been Ghost Galaxy. Same ride again, but with a scary soundtrack and some spectral effects on the ride. And even in years past, they projected some really cool effects on the Space Mountain show building, accompanied with some equally cool and genuinely spooky sound effects. Which brings me to the rumor: Space Mountain, Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear. Rumor is that Disney's not only thinking about putting a Buzz Lightyear overlay on Space Mountain, but they're actually ready. They have it ready to go and install it if they choose. The only question really is whether or not they will put it in, and if they do decide to put it in, when. As mentioned, we're in the middle of a Hyperspace Mountain skin, and this was done in coordination with Star Wars Celebration. And that is expected to run through June, as I understand it, the Hyperspace Mountain skin. However, the Buzz Lightyear film premieres on June 17th. It would be, I don't know, less than optimal, I guess, for them to try to hype up a film with a Buzz Lightyear skin on Space Mountain, to hype up that film a good 3 weeks after the film is already premiered. So the question, I guess, from Disney's perspective is it worth it to go through all that? Now, since I've not been able to vet this rumor beyond the single source that I've heard it from, my guess is that we probably will not be seeing this at Space Mountain. But I would say that if we're looking for clues about whether or not this might happen, our best bet is to watch the park's calendar to see if there's any closures for Space Mountain ahead of when we might normally expect one. Right now, there's no scheduled closure for Space Mountain on the calendar. It goes as far into the future as June 28th as of this recording. Space Mountain does not show up as closed during that time. And they would have to close the attraction to put in this skin. It takes a couple of days to take out the Hyperspace Mountain skin and put in the Buzz Lightyear skin. But if the calendar changes and we suddenly do see a closure for Space Mountain where there wasn't one before, that is before June 28th, that's a very good sign that something is up. It means that something has changed, and if something has changed, it's changed for a reason. That reason would be Buzz Lightyear. I wonder, though, if they're waiting to see how the film does, which is kind of backwards when you think about it. Space Mountain isn't hurting for guests. They don't need to hype Space Mountain. They need to hype the movie. So I feel like, if anything, they want to turn that hype machine on as early as possible for the film, to make the film do better. I have to say, though, I'm curious to see how this might look. I mean, it would actually be mostly sound, Buzz Lightyear sound, because projections inside Space Mountain, they just don't work. They're okay at best, poor, really, is what they are. But still, I'd be curious. I want to know what it feels like, because certain kinds of music hit right on Space Mountain. The traditional soundtrack is fantastic. The Hyperspace Mountain soundtrack is pretty good for Space Mountain. Ghost Galaxy soundtrack, not so much. The music that they play for that doesn't go with the pace of the attraction. By the way, I should note, at the same time, while we're talking about this, Ghost Galaxy that is, as I understand it, we're never going to see Ghost Galaxy again. We will not see it because they think it's too scary. Just the skin inside, which it's a definite blow to the gut of the projections. We definitely won't be seeing those anymore, I guess, if that is what their concern is, that it's too scary. That's my favorite part. Anyway, I digress. No more Ghost Galaxy. But I am curious to see, or would be curious to see, how that Lightyear music and the sound effects coordinate with the attraction. Stay tuned to Fresh Baked to see if this happens. Also, stay tuned to Fresh Baked to see how this story evolves. We've been talking a little bit lately about Encanto and how were looking for reasons or ways to get Encanto into the parks. One of the locations that we suggested was an ideal place for something Encanto related was the Hyperion Theater at the Hollywood backlot, or actually on Hollywood Boulevard. Not coincidentally, there's a rumor gaining steam that Disney is working on something new for the Hyperion Theater. I had heard this rumor about, a month or so ago, but I didn't report it on it then because, like the other one, I hadn't been able to vet it. But now that we've got all this coming together, it's starting to make for a decent video. But now I've heard it again, this time from another source on Twitter. Sean from Ranking the Mouse revealed that he's heard a similar rumor. But that's as far as the rumor goes, only that they're working on something. It's something new. That means they're not going to try to bring back Frozen. That is definitely canceled permanently. Same thing for Aladdin. That is not. It's something new. And the only other thing that we know so far as the rumor goes, is what it isn't. It's not Encanto. And it's also not Rogers the Musical. For what it's worth, I laugh a little bit at that because, it's Rogers the Musical, but that actually, Rogers the Musical, of all the possibilities that I've been able to come up with so far, that is actually the best possible solution, the best possible thing that they could bring to the Hyperion Theater. It fits in the building. It's a musical. It fits with Avengers Campus. And it fits with Hollywood. It's the perfect segue between Avengers Campus and Hollywood. A place that needs badly a proper segue. That is one of the weirdest sort of transitions between Avengers Campus and Hollywood. That would actually make perfect sense. I'm actually trying now to figure out how it's possible that that isn't what they're working on. My best guess is that they don't like it as a show. It was just a joke of a thing in the Hawkeye show, wasn't meant to be taken seriously as an actual show. I don't know if Disney has that kind of meta sense of humor about itself in terms of the parks, Disneyland. They marvel a little bit, but I don't think that Disneyland is able to do something so self-referential as that. So outside of that, what are our options? Well, I think I would look first, if we're looking for ideas of what they might put into the Hyperion Theater, I would look first at what they're doing or have already done on Broadway. There's Lion King. But we've already got a Lion King show coming to the Fantasyland Theater. Hunchback of Notre Dame, that's got some potential. Hercules. I believe this has been on Broadway, and that's got some potential as well, even as a quasi-superhero type story. Beauty and the Beast. It ran for more than a decade. Already a show at the Royal Theater, though. Mary Poppins, probably not, though I'd love to see this. Little Mermaid. Already got a ride telling that story. Tarzan. I think Disney wants to get out of the Tarzan business, to be honest. So no, I'm not expecting Tarzan. Newsies. This is interesting. Little bit of synergy with the return of the red car trolley. And I think I've covered everything. I probably missed one or two. But if we're assuming that they are going to do something that has already been done before so they don't have to reinvent anything, then I think your best bets are Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mary Poppins, and Newsies. I think those are the four best options. Tell me what you think, Fresh Baked. Do you think, A, that this is happening? And two, what would you like to see at the Hyperion Theater? Actually, you know what? I just realized I did forget one. Spider-Man. They did do a Spider-Man show on Broadway. Huge budget, if I recall correctly. Didn't do very well. It was reviewed poorly, other than I think the stunts were reviewed pretty well, but the story was kind of lame. And it was a huge money loser. So I'm not sure if they want to open up that can again. But there is room, there is a possibility that they might retweak a Spider-Man musical in that theater. But no matter what they wind up doing, I think it's great that they're putting their minds back in that space. They're putting their minds back into the Hyperion Theater, assuming this rumor is correct. Like I said, I've heard it from a couple different sources now. And I'm glad to know that there is some life happening at the Hyperion Theater, life outside of people just trying to eat a panini sandwich out there in the old Q space for Hyperion. By the way, one final note, talking about Encanto, Disney CFO Christine McCarthy recently joined a chorus of voices from the Disney family saying that we should expect more Encanto in the parks. She mentioned specifically, actually, in her statement, the music, which, again, that does sort of coordinate well with the Hyperion and a musical, that kind of thing. But from what I understand, what we're getting is not Encanto. Then again, this is rumor, so it still could be the case. But she did also, apart from saying something about the music, she did qualify her statement as saying that some of it would be transitory. And by transitory, she means not permanent. So some of it transitory, some of it permanent, I guess. I'm not sure what that means. We got Lin-Manuel Miranda. He was talking a while back about how as he understands that Disney's working on an attraction, an Encanto attraction. I feel like we're years away from Encanto in terms of an actual permanent attraction. I don't know. It's a tough one. But something that they could do sooner than later is a show, an Encanto show. So that's what I still have hope. There is still hope for Encanto fans for something like that at the Hyperion Theater. Okay, last item for today is the atrocity that is Genie Plus at Walt Disney World. For those who don't follow things closely on the other coast, Genie Plus operates almost completely differently at Walt Disney World than it does here at Disneyland. Here, you buy Genie Plus, you can ride every ride in one day. There, they have said publicly, Disney has conceded, you might get 2 or 3 attractions, Genie Plus attractions, when you buy Genie Plus. Things couldn't operate more differently there than they do here, and people generally hate Genie Plus. I mean, they all use it because they kind of have to, but they don't enjoy Genie Plus at Walt Disney World. You hear a lot of people talk about how Genie Plus has made visiting the parks in the East Coast only more difficult and more confusing. And then news yesterday about a policy change for Genie Plus may be, the tipping point for a lot of guests about deciding whether or not to buy Genie Plus or even whether or not to go to Disney World. Yesterday, Disney announced that guests will no longer be able to buy Genie Plus in advance. It used to be that you could buy a ticket in advance, and at the same time, you could buy Genie Plus and add it to your ticket. But as of June 8th, guests at Walt Disney World will only be able to buy Genie Plus on the day of their visit. You don't have to be in the park to buy Genie Plus, but you have to have a reservation for that day that you purchase. In and of itself, that doesn't sound so bad, except they also added this little nugget. Disney said that Genie Plus can be purchased one day at a time and is subject to availability, as in there's a possibility that they could sell out. Now, they said originally that they were never going to sell out. They were going to keep it open all the time. But here we are, as of June 8th, there's a possibility that you cannot buy Genie Plus, that it could be sold out. Obviously, the reason they're doing this is because they're selling too many. It is being used by too many guests. It's doing too well in terms of what percentage of guests are buying it. It's making the system unmanageable. As we mentioned, guests are getting maybe 2 or 3 Lightning Lane attractions or 2 or 3 Genie Plus Fast Passes in per day, and then it's wreaking havoc otherwise on standby. Standby wait times are atrocious right now. It's made going to Walt Disney World kind of a test of will. So it makes sense that they would need to limit sales in order to level the playing field. And at first blush, that seems like a good idea, right? Well, wait till you see the response on Twitter. And those folks on Twitter have made some very astute observations about this change to Genie Plus. For example, do we have to rope drop Genie Plus now the way we have to rope drop dining reservations? Things are getting progressively more and more complex and aggravating for the guest. This is a very astute observation. I doubt highly that anyone making these decisions actually have to use this system. Besides booking a hotel and buying tickets, you have to hope you can get the reservations you need. You have to wake up early to get any Lightning Lanes you need. Also, find some way to maybe get in the virtual queue for the newest rides at Epcot and Hollywood. And now, you also have to buy the dang Genie Plus in the morning before trying to book those Fast Passes. It's getting to the point you need an advanced degree in theme park Okay, so I was saying that, but somebody has made this same point as well. So in an effort to try to, under the guise of making our experience more enjoyable, comfortable, easier, they have made it completely complex and unenjoyable. So maybe, this change is meant to curb demand. That's a thing. But it's also making everything about it, it's getting more and more. It's a beast that's growing. Kind of like Defunctland video, the beast, the Fast Pass beast. There should be a part 2 to that video, and this is that part 2. And on that note, it's interesting because there are basically 2 solutions to this problem. One solution is to get rid of the system entirely. Or at the very least, just go back to the old Fast Pass system, paper Fast Passes, or I would even go so far as to say maybe adopt the Max Pass system like we had at Disneyland. Put that at Disney World. If they want to, if Disney's still interested in trying to make some money from the Fast Pass system, Obviously, they are. So that's like the baseline. Go to that. Go to Max Pass. Everybody liked Max Pass. The second solution, other than Max Pass, viable solution. The second possible solution to this is to charge more. Disney has to charge more for Genie Plus so that fewer people will use it. This is something that I have been saying for months. As soon as I heard what the price line, I don't know, more than that even, I don't know. As soon as I heard the price line for Genie Plus, I thought that's too cheap. They need to raise the price in order to limit the demand. $20. Here at Disneyland, $20 is not a bad value considering you can get in all the attractions. It really isn't. But the reason why you can get all the attractions in, why you can do all the Genie Plus rides here at Disneyland is because people, in spite of it, the value, are just choosing not to get it because it's a different breed of guest. We're here all the time. It's the same guests over and over as opposed to people coming in from out of town at Walt Disney World where they feel compelled to buy Genie Plus. So raising the price is a very logical solution, and I actually think that is the direction that they're going with this. This move is just the first shot across the bow, I guess, in terms of Genie Plus. They're going to follow this up, I think, with raising the ticket prices, but not a flat rate like they're doing at Disneyland Paris, for example, or at Universal Studios, where it's like, what, $80 all in. No, I think at Walt Disney World, and this is where things get really messed up, I think at Walt Disney World, we're going to get another flex pricing situation. Like park tickets are flex priced, like individual lightning lanes are flex demand pricing, as it were, where the price goes up and down based on the demand. I think we're going to get the same thing for Genie Plus. They're going to have demand pricing for Genie Plus. This frustrates me because Disney keeps trying to push this idea of trying to get so detailed and so refined and so exact that they have to extract every possible dollar, the maximum number of dollars out of any given situation. They don't want to make a flat rate that's too high because they don't want people to buy it. They want the price to be low enough for people to buy it, but high enough where they can maximize demand. I hate it. I hate it. It's just so confusing. It shows a lack of understanding. It shows a lack of empathy. They are asking so much of their guests. For some, I mean, all of this is, I guess mostly navigable. We kind of get used to it. It's not a total mystery to some of us. But there are others who aren't exactly tech savvy. This is all just so mysterious and confusing, especially if you aren't well informed. Imagine going to Disney World and let's say you don't subscribe to Fresh Baked or to Tim Tracker or to whatever vlogs they have out there in Walt Disney World. Suppose that you don't do your research and homework and you just go to Disney World. Imagine that. I cannot. You have, like the guy on Twitter said, you have to have an advanced degree in going to a theme park in order to understand all of this. I could not imagine going in dark to Disney World right now. More than anything, I feel bad. I feel bad for the average Disneyland guest. I mean, it's easy for me personally to sort of disregard. It doesn't really affect me very much because I don't go to the parks the way that a lot of you do. So it doesn't affect me, these changes. Well, we're in Disneyland anyway. I should note that here. This is just at Walt Disney World. I don't expect anything like this to be happening at Disneyland anytime soon, mostly because we don't have the issues with demand for Genie Plus that they do at Walt Disney World. People aren't buying Genie Plus generally to the point where they have to, address it here at Disneyland. We can only hope that, the situation will reach a zenith and Disney will, I don't know, learn the error of their ways and simplify things a little bit. I'll tell you what, it sure was easy. As I mentioned in the video we did for Universal, I bought my annual pass for Universal that included the Express Pass, one purchase, and that was it. And then all I have to do, I don't even have to make a reservation. I don't have to go to any app or anything like that. I just show up at the attraction and get in the ride. It's so much easier. Makes me want to go back and do that again, I have to say. Anyway, that's it. That's all we got for you guys today. Sorry if I did lose my chill a little bit. I told you that I might. But there you go, guys. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked. On Twitter at Fresh Baked Disney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at Fresh Baked Disney. If you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you very much. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.